Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your man Air Jordan 14 back with another review. Today's shoe is the Nike Lunar Hyperdunk. So without any further ado, let's just get right into it. As always, start with the inner, and as you can, hopefully, I don't know if you can tell from this vantage, but of course it's lined. There aren't any raised seams or any hot spots that's going to cause you any sort of problems or any issues. Inner comfort is very good. The tongue here is actually integrated into the inner, so it forms like a half booty. Oh, sorry. So it forms like a half booty, and it fits really well. I'm going to come back to touch on that when we get to the fit portion. Now moving on to the traction area here, and I'll sit this down. As you can see, you've got kind of like the concentric circle pattern going on here. You got your pivot points here, and then you've got a heel point there. I was kind of initially actually worried about maybe the traction that a translucent outsole would provide, but it actually provided really good traction, not only on super clean courts, but courts that were less than up to snuff, any type of cuts or anything that I would make. It definitely held up well. I don't recall in my entire time of testing actually having to wipe the shoe really, which is oftentimes the case with a translucent shoe. It's going to have a very sticky rubber. But that really wasn't the case actually. It was sticking to the floor and not to the dust, which if you're a hyperactive type player that's moving, cutting, doing all those things, that's a good thing for you. So the traction was actually very good. Now, moving upstairs, the next floor, which is the cushioning here, you've got a Lunar Lawn midsole here, and coming off the last Hyperdunk, which had heel and 4-foot zoom air, I wasn't necessarily thrilled about the switch over, but I'll say after having played in this shoe extensively, the Lunar Lawn is actually really good. They've come a long way since the last incarnation, well, since previous incarnations shoes, say like the Kobe 4, and other shoes, when that Lunar bottoms out, or like I say, as it breaks up with you, it is bad. The shoe goes dead and it's totally useless. That didn't really happen on here. It started off, I don't want to say firm. It was more or less just the shoe, something that soaked up the impact forces. With not a whole lot of responsiveness, but as you played and you kind of broke it in a little bit, you did get a little more responsiveness. Now, it was never to the level of, say, like Zoom Air or anything to that effect, but it was actually a pleasant surprise, and it was actually really good. So from a cushioning standpoint, the Lunar Line was actually very enjoyable. So it held up fairly well. Now, if you're a super huge, if you're a big man, it may not be substantial enough for you. You may want, an Air Max or something that's a little more suited to you if you're a beefy or a bigger guy. Now the upper, see, it's synthetic, not necessarily a fused upper here. Then you've got the exposed fly wire here on the lateral. Oh, sorry, couldn't see it. On the lateral and on the medial sides. Now let me hold it up like this. You may not be able to tell, but it's a narrow shoe, which I don't have a wide foot, so the fit was actually excellent for me. So I stepped in, your foot, it just doesn't move anywhere. The upper, in conjunction with the flywire, does an absolutely great job of holding your foot in place. There was absolutely no internal foot movement anywhere in the shoe. That's both front to back and side to side, and even at the heel. It's got a internal heel counter there, and all those things, it works together. It just locks your foot down in place. Now, if you've got a wide foot, it could cause problems because the shoe is kind of narrow. And because this is not a leather plant-based shoe or anything. Although it's flexible, as you can see here, I'll demonstrate. Upper's pretty flexible. It still holds its shape pretty well. So you have a wide foot, it could cause you some problems. You may want to look in other direction for something that's going to be a little open. From a material standpoint, this held up very well. The shoe was put together extremely well. After all the time I spent in these, as you can see, they still look pretty good. Put together well, fairly good material, so it can say this would be a shoe that can hold up for a season of wear. And I did do some testing with the Nike Plus stuff, so it was pretty cool, just to kind of test all of those things. But that's obviously something they moved away from, so I won't really discuss that too much further. But all in all, the Lunar Hyperdunk is a fairly lightweight, comfortable shoe with great fit, great traction, great support, all the things that I would say if you're an active, quick guard. Things that you like. Court feel on these is, again, very good. Of course, if you're a bigger player, or if you have wide feet, you may want to look at exploring some other options, because there just may not be enough room in this particular shoe for you. But that's been this performance review. Appreciate everyone watching. It's your man Air Jordan 14 signing out. Peace.